can't see me anywhere outside. So she's freaking out, calls my dad, works for the city at the time. She hangs up, she calls 911, and my dad called 911 as well. And apparently the dispatchers were like, hey, I got mom on the phone. I got dad on the phone. My dad gave all the information necessary. They sent people out there. My dad left work. A bunch of people he worked with at the city, they all left to go help. See that lone pine up on that hill over there? What are we actually doing right now? The kids are just wild out there. They're wild. But they're having a good time, you know? They're having a good time. This is Untamed Unbroken, The Adventurer's Guide, and I'm your host, Blake Bredesen. All right, so I gotta tell the story that I think myself is funny, amusing now, because it was me when I was 3 years old. My parents at the time, not amusing at all. But in my nature, I was just exploring, curiosity. Let's take a step back. The year is 1992. It's April. It's Minnesota. There's a little snow on the ground. It's cold enough where the swamps are still frozen. At least the swamp. I don't know if, I would assume the lake's also still frozen as well, but the swamps were frozen, starting to thaw out. And that's relevant because there's a swamp in our backyard. We live in the country, surrounded 360 degrees by trees. We live on a dirt road off of a county road. We're the only house on this dirt road. It's a dead end cul-de-sac. Eventually, another house was built, but at this time, it's just us. I'm 3.5. My sister is a couple months old. My older brother, he's in school. He's 3.5 years older than me. And I think it's the afternoon. The way I was told anyway, was that we were outside playing, and it was my mom. My dad's at work, so it was my mom, my sister, and me. And outside, my mom got distracted. Not distracted. She was taking care of my sister. She was taking care of her, doing something, looking away for not more than 30 seconds, dude. And little old me decided to walk around the house and walk down the driveway, walk down our dirt road, walk across the county road into the woods on the other side of the county road. Now, my mom just thought I was maybe went inside, or was maybe just playing in the backyard, or maybe went to the front yard or something like that. I don't know what she thought exactly. One day I will have to talk to her about that, how she felt during it. I have talked to my dad about it, but so she's looking everywhere, can't find me. She calls my dad, like couldn't find me anywhere in the house, can't see me anywhere outside. So she's freaking out, calls my dad, works for the city at the time. She hangs up, she calls 911. She's frantic, I'm assuming here, mom, frantic. And my dad called 911 as well. And apparently the dispatchers were like, hey, I got mom on the phone. I got dad on the phone. And so that's kind of funny. My dad gave all the information necessary. They sent people out there. My dad left work. A bunch of people he worked, I think everybody maybe, that he worked with at the city, they all left to go help look too. And I'm not sure the exact timeline here of how things played out. My dad searched everywhere through the house. I think at that point, they called search and rescue. My dad immediately went to the backyard or maybe was looking around, did another search of the house. And he was looking in the backyard. He went to the swamp and was looking for tracks in the snow. He didn't see any of my tracks. He didn't see any breaks in the ice falling, to fall through into like a swampy area. It wasn't, I wouldn't have fallen through and gone under. Like, it wasn't that deep, but it was swampy, good, like, good place to check. Obviously, that place I went back to that swamp a lot growing up, walking around there, exploring, especially in the spring when there was a lot of water back there. I would go back with some rain boots on and walk around and explore. I did that all the time. Now, I don't know that I did it at that age. I didn't remember that. But so he's looking there. And meanwhile, I'm just over across the road, the county road, hunting bears. We have a black lab at the time. She is with me. Shaylee is our black lab's name. So she's with me, never left my side the whole time. My parents always talk about that, how they were just amazed. Like, Shaylee never left your side. And he was like, when I whistle, that dog will come. And I was whistling and whistling and whistling, and the dog never came. So the dog never left my side. So little protector there, because all I had was a stick, and I was hunting bears at 3.5 on my own, apparently. But I remember a couple things. I remember just walking through the woods. I remember thinking to myself, when I go back, I'll look for the yellow bus that my brother is coming home on, and I'll walk with him back home. We'll be good. I think at that point I knew I was a little lost and didn't know quite which direction to go. I don't have a real clear memory on that part. I remember seeing a cow in a field, and then I remember talking to a woman. This lady talking to me, and apparently that's where she asks, "Hey, what are you doing, buddy?" And I replied, "Hunting for bears." What can I say? I've never been bear hunting in my life to this day. I deer hunt, but yeah, never been bear hunting. I guess I got scared out of me or something. I don't know. So she's the one who found me, brought me back out. There's a ton of people looking for me in all directions. They were just about to put a plane, because think April in Minnesota, it's getting dark soon at this point. Like, they had a couple hours till dark, and they wanted to find me and do everything they could beforehand. And so they were just about to put a plane up in the air. That plane I don't think ever went up, because they had just found me. So that, when they brought me back out to the road, that's when I started crying, because it was, all these people. I was good up until that point. And so that little story there is significant in a few ways. One, I think it's just innate for people. Some people are explorers. Like, my son is now 2. And so I have this on my mind all the time. I'm like, all right, so like next year, next spring, when he's 3.5, that, because he likes to go wander through the woods, off the trail, ducking under trees and branches. Like, it's in him. My daughter also loves the outdoors, loves being outside, but she's not quite as, let's go see what's over here under that tree, crawling around, going off the trail. So she's not quite like that, but he is, for sure. And so there's definitely a genetic factor going on there. Also just environmental. I bring the kids outside all the time. We go on hikes. I want to introduce them to the outdoors. I want them to grow up outside as much as we can. But I also think that's where, that's the first realization I had, like, that I can remember, is like, I like being outside. I like adventure. I'm curious. I love exploring, especially exploring new places outside. So it's that kind of is just born in me. Other reasons, I just am inspired by to be outside, the outdoors is just how I grew up. I grew up outside. We played outside all the time. My mom would come out and yell for us. At dinner time, I remember in the winter especially, I remember being outside, sledding, snowboarding down our little hill, making jumps, snowball fights, but we'd be playing in the snow for hours after school and then dinner and then, whatever, go to bed. But always outside. Then I remember my interest transitioned to hunting. My dad hunted, fished, trapped, and so duck hunting was kind of the first thing. Boundary waters trips was right about the same time. I was 8 years old when I went on my first boundary waters trip. And I remember a few years before then, my older brother got to go, and he had gone for a couple years and I wasn't able to go yet. And I remember the cabin we stayed at on a lake. We were with family friends. It was my dad and brother and grandpa and their friends. They would go into the boundary waters while I was home, or I was at this little cabin with my mom and some of the other people that didn't go into the boundary waters. So I got to hang out with them. I wanted to be with my dad in the boundary waters. And I remember looking out across this lake and being like, they'll be back today. I was like, are they coming back? Are they coming back? Looking out across the lake. That lake was not connected to the boundary waters in any way. But I would look out across it like that was the lake that they went out on and went into the boundary waters. Little did I know that's not how it worked. And so boundary waters at a young age. I remember going into duck blinds, like going duck hunting at a young age. I don't know exactly, 8, 9, 10 years old before I could actually hunt, but I would just sit there, drink hot chocolate, eat candy and sandwiches. Yeah. And do that for a couple hours, get a little cold. Then it was bow hunting, deer hunting started at 12, rifle hunting, just whitetail deer, bow hunting, and then camping. That and camping, inspiration for the outdoors. In fact, camping is probably my favorite thing right now to do with the family is camping. I love camping with them. We have a travel trailer. It's this old school 30-foot low to the ground travel trailer we pull, and got a bed up front. The little middle area is like the kitchen dinette area. We fold down that dining room table. We put the pack and play on there for Decker with this thing called the Slumber Pod, which is a blackout tent. And I highly recommend it if you have kids and you travel a lot, whether you are in a hotel or you're out camping or you're just visiting family somewhere and staying in a room. This little Slumber Pod blackout tent that just goes right over top of the pack and play is a game changer, 100% game changer. And so I highly recommend that. I'm not affiliated with them. Just look up Slumber Pod and you'll not be disappointed with that one. But yeah, camping, we went on a few camping trips this past year with the family, and that's one thing that I love. It's a little easier than tent camping. I've introduced my daughter, who's 5, I've introduced her to tent camping. She went her first trip when she was 3. We went on this one a few months ago. She was 4 at the time. She does great, but that's probably my favorite thing to do outside, or just even going on hikes with the kids. But that's kind of my inspiration for doing this podcast is I love the outdoors, and I want to introduce that to people, and people with little kids that are wondering, hey, could use a little guidance on some of these things, or people that are new to wilderness camping. Haven't done it. I've been doing it for over 25 years. Like canoe trips into the Boundary Waters. 25 years. I have 2 North Star canoes. Amazing canoes. But you don't need to own a canoe to go into the Boundary Waters. You can rent. But introducing people to that and setting them up as like with some information, a little guide into how to start and do these trips, pick up tidbits, tips and tricks here and there, and just be a resource. So it's not just going to be me on this podcast. It's going to be guests. It'll be me, but experts in the world of camping, wilderness trips, a whole slew of topics, but it's going to be outdoor adventure related. Thank you for sticking around. If you've enjoyed the show, don't forget to subscribe, leave us a rating and review, even one word. It helps a ton. Sincerely appreciate you guys. Thank you all, and we'll see you on the next one. Stay wild.
You've been listening to Untamed, Unbroken, a Lone Pine Adventures original podcast.